South Korean pop singer Jay Kim has converted to Islam. Let's take a look and see what they're telling him.
부담적인 행위들은 이제 다 멀리하도록 최선의 노력을 다해야 돼요. 그래서 뭐 물론 100% 변화를 가져올 수는 없겠지만.
So they're saying he has to wear Muslim clothes, okay?
그럼에도 불구하고 무슬림이라는 이제 옷을 입는 거란 말이에요. 그 옷이 흐트러지면 안 된다라는 얘기지. 그런 거에도 충분히 의지가 있을 때 있거든 하는 거고. 하고 근데 안타깝게도 할 수 없어라고 했던 그게 이슬람을 이루는 아스로 확신을 가졌다라고 와 있기 때문에 대로 아주 열심히가 되어 있죠. 그 일본이면 인물을.
So the South Korean singer Jay Kim has found his place as a Muslim. This is quite interesting, and he talks about why he became Muslim in one of the other videos. He's now going by the name of Dawood Kim. What kind of bothered me when I saw this is how the imam or the person that gave him dawah, the person that he's with, is telling him that now you have to change your life, now you have to be different, now you have to wear Islamic clothes, and of course, even changing your name. Like, do you even need to change your name? I don't know if that was his choice or they told him to do that, but now he's saying change your name, and now you have to dress like a Muslim, now you have to behave differently, you have to give up your old life of, I guess, sinfulness, I'm not sure. And then here, he talks about why he became Muslim, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I got a lot of questions, and 80% of questions were, why did you become a Muslim? Today, I want to answer this. My converting이 아니고 reverting story. Okay, then here we go. How I became a Muslim, Dawood Kim. Unfortunately, my first memory of Islam was 9/11. At that time, I was really young, like 8 years old. I watched a huge building collapse on TV. I was really shocked, and that time I heard the word Islam on TV. So that was the first time I heard the word Islam. I don't know well, but I thought Islam is dangerous because media always show the negative images about Islam: war, oppression, terrorism. So I also thought that.
So this is what we see on TV, but this is actually, my friend, one of the facts about Islam is that it is associated with all of those things. Not to every single Muslim, no doubt, but to some Muslims, those who try to follow the Quran and Sunnah a certain way, they come up with these terrible interpretations. Do these interpretations have nothing to do with Islam? Of course not. We do find that this religion, more than probably any other religion on the face of the earth today, keeps coming back to these sort of themes, these violent, harmful ideas about, hurting other people and jihad and all that stuff.
They are dangerous and strict. A lot of time passed. Actually, I was a Catholic, but I didn't interest in any religion. I was just busy at living my life. But my bad thinking about Islam completely broke down one day in Indonesia. I debuted as a singer in Korea. I was not popular, but still. And luckily, I got a chance to have a promotion in Jakarta. But I didn't know about Islam that time, so I even didn't know that there were so many Muslim people in Indonesia. I really didn't know that. Actually, two things made me so surprised. First, they were really kind than I expected. And
Muslims are different from Islam. I think, although he didn't realize that this is actually the case, this is the case. Muslims are different from what Islam teaches. Muslims are of all different levels and interpretations, but the important thing to realize is there's a difference between Islam and Muslims. To him, it seems that he saw all of these bad things in the news media, so he was kind of thinking, well, Muslims are bad people, and he wasn't exposed, I guess, to Muslims. But now that he's been exposed to Muslims, he was like, wow, I was so wrong about that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the religion itself is good just because there's good people in the religion. That's, I think, the key that he's missing here.
And second is that so many girls are covering their faces with veils. I didn't even know the word hijab. And Indonesia is a really hot country, so I was so curious. So I asked a girl who wear hijab, why are you wearing scarf on your face? Did someone force you? And he said, I'm a diamond, incredibly precious. So I don't want to show this to other people. Nobody forced me. This is my choice, and I'm so proud of it. At the moment, I was really shocked.
If You have a white convert living in Canada, in America, in the West, and she says, this is my choice. She's probably telling the truth. There's nobody forcing her to wear hijab. In fact, she might be actually going through some difficulties for wearing it. If you're going to Indonesia, if you're going to a Muslim country where kids are brought up to wear hijab, where the entire community, where the entire sometimes population of women are all wearing hijab, it's not the case at all that you can just not wear it and you can just choose or not choose to wear it. Many times the family, the parents, the father, even the mother will insist that the kids wear hijab. They won't let them not wear the hijab. They have no choice. They have to wear it. They might think it's a choice, but when they try to take it off, they can see what happens. It usually isn't pretty when a woman wants to take off the hijab in a Muslim country.
I thought that was oppression, but they were really proud of this. Yeah, it was really interesting. What made her so proud? At that time, I didn't know it was the face. I think Allah sent me a sign at this time, but I didn't notice.
Someone being proud of the religious indoctrination is not really a good thing. If I raised my daughter and I told her she's never allowed to leave the house, and this is a sign of the true faith, and in fact this is what many cults do, they teach the children twisted things, and they tell them that this is the best way to live and God is going to come and He's going to take us to the next life and you're going to get this and that. This is a sign of religious indoctrination. This is not a healthy sign.
Surprisingly, at that time, it gave me a chance to meet Islam. Through this, I could meet many Muslims. They're real Muslims, not in the media. So I got along with them and found out what I didn't know about Islam.
The Muslims in the media are real Muslims too. The ones doing the bad things. There's good and bad Muslims. And unfortunately, the worst Muslims are really, really bad, because they're doing terrible things to humanity. You don't tend to find that people use the religious texts in order to commit violent, horrendous crimes like you do with Islam to the same level, because the texts themselves and the interpretation and the way that you can interpret them can lead to quite a painful, terrible interpretation. He's not seeing real Islam, he's seeing real Muslims, but all of them are real Muslims. Not just the ones in real life. The ones on TV are real Muslims too. They're all real Muslims.
Believe in Allah. Why do they pray? Why don't they eat pork? Why don't they drink?
Well, most of them believe in Allah because they were born as Muslims. Their parents raised them as Muslims. Their parents raised them as Muslims, and so on. Why don't they eat pork and drink alcohol? Well, because they're told not to, and that's what they're taught.
And what is halal and what is haram? And who is Prophet Muhammad?
Yes, what is halal and what is haram? Every single decision in your life now has to go based on what's halal and haram.
Peace be upon him. Many things. I learned one by one. And I found something really special I never felt before. It's very hard to explain, but I felt they have something that I'm missing. Because the way they treat their lives is definitely different from mine. I thought life is competition, and only surviving the competition is success. I thought I have to fight and win, but they were different. They always help others, and they were always thankful for what was given for them. This impressed me a lot, the attitude of their life. My Muslim friend told me life is a journey, not a competition. And the purpose of this journey is to go on the right path according to the God, Allah, the most glorified and the most high. If you follow Allah on the right path, there will be a great present at the end of this journey. Yeah, that's Jannah, the paradise. When I heard this, I felt like someone punched my face so hard. The belief that you're going to the right path, it touched and moved my heart. In the beginning and the end of this everything, there was Allah. This was the something I was looking for. So to know about this, I started to follow their practice.
I don't know what it was that Jay, now Dawood, was missing in his life that made him want to look into Islam. He definitely found some characteristics that Muslims have, being thankful for everything, being, charitable, a tight-knit community. We do find that religious people tend to be quite charitable, especially among their own people, but also by extension to non-members of the group, but especially to members of the group. Religion is able to do something. It creates an ideology a super kin ideology, because what we find is in nature, animals are able to be nice only to kin, to relatives, right? Because by being kind to your relative, you're actually saving yourself. You're like a copy of your genes, right? Which is called kin selection. But when it comes to helping strangers for no reciprocal benefit, we don't find this in nature other than with humans. Humans are able to do this by creating this group, the super kin group, which involves others who are not family members, and they become like family members. So this is one of the best things about religion. And I don't know why he didn't find this in his own religion, in his own Catholic religion. I'm not sure why he found this only among Muslims, because you would find the Catholics would have similar type of personalities, where they would also have the same charitableness, they would also have thankfulness to God, and all that he was looking for, without having to change his life so drastically.
The Quran, studied about Muhammad, peace be upon him. I fasted for a month in Ramadan. I went to mosque and prayed. It happened in just a few months. As I experienced their practice little by little, my faith also grew up. The faith in Allah, who created me and also guide me.
This is a similar journey to what I went through, where I was born as an Ismaili Muslim, and then I converted to Sunni Islam, and then I started praying and fasting and reading the Quran and going to the mosque and going for Jummah, and I deep dived into Islam, and I found that this was making me happy, and I thought this was what God wanted for me.
The absolute, the most gracious and most merciful. And these things never happened in one time. I found it little by little, and the important thing is I found it myself. Nobody forced me. As I fasted, I found gratitude for Allah, and I found that prayer to Allah would give me the peace of mind.
The peace of mind that he's finding with the prayer to Allah, this is something that you can experience even through meditation. By sitting quietly, by meditating, by contemplating on the universe, or even by just meditating, by being mindful, you can find these little moments of peace, these moments of self-realization, without all of the dogma that's involved in Islam. When he studied about the life of Muhammad, I wondered if he read all of the negative things in the life of Muhammad as well. Things that Muhammad did that were questionable morally, things like allowing his men to sleep with the slaves, things like allowing them to sell slaves and buy slaves, so many things that he himself was involved in. He was in fact a slave trader himself. He bought and sold slaves, right? That's just one example. And many of the teachings of Islam are inherently one-sided and unfair to women. I wonder if he noticed all these things. When I was reading about Islam, I didn't think about these things, but I was also quite young.
So finally, I was sure about my belief. So I thought about becoming a Muslim, but nevertheless, I hesitated for a long time. There are reasons. Many people told me that the pork and alcohol, but I didn't think it's not very difficult if I have faith. There were other reasons. First, can I overcome the prejudice of others as a Muslim? And second, am I perfectly prepared to be a Muslim? And also a position for my family. For me, it was a big problem and pressure. I pressed myself a lot. But after that, I thought like this. Why am I pressing myself? Islam is a religion that creates a relationship between me and Allah, not others. If Allah made a plan for me, only Allah can give me the answer. So I visited the mosque and asked him, what do I have to do? And surprisingly, my thoughts organized. I got the conclusion. I have faith and will to practice. So I don't need to hesitate anymore.
This is a great characteristic that he has, the ability to overcome social pressure and social doubts. I would also encourage him to think about whether his family, they probably have his best interest at heart when they're telling him don't convert to Islam. I know when I deep dived into Sunni Islam, a lot of the things I was doing, my family questioned as well. Yet I didn't really want to listen to them because I had already made my decision and I thought I knew best. I'm going to go to Jannah and I'm going to go to paradise and I'm going to be a good Muslim. And I didn't really think about whether the things that I was doing actually made sense or not. I just did them. So I would encourage him. I mean, this is a great characteristic he has to be able to go against society and go against the common culture in Korea, to do what he wants to do, to become a Muslim, right? But I also encourage him to not miss out on something in his life that's going well for him. He is being taught that music is haram. People are telling him that, and he's a singer.
Not the answer. It's my opinion. So let's go. First of all, I asked this question to Imam in Korea. I'll tell you his opinion first. He said, exactly, musical instruments are not allowed. I will read you the Bukhari Hadith, number 5590. Narrated Abu Amil or Abu Malik are and rhythm. Because this pitch and rhythm attracts people's mind, and this makes you far from Allah. But drums or percussions is allowed in joyful days like Eids or weddings. And music with only voices like a cappella without instruments is okay. And like worship of God, respect for Muhammad, or love to your brothers.
Basically, Islamic propaganda.
If they have a good content, that's okay. That's fine. Yeah, that's what Imam said. Then I will tell you my opinion. Actually, I don't want to say this is haram or not. Even imams and scholars have different opinions, so I don't deserve to say this. What I want to say today is not yes or no. I want to talk about the direction. Yeah, the direction. Which way are you going now? Drop the music. The music itself is haram? I don't know. But whether the music is haram or not, the important thing is how does the music affect your direction and how it affects your mind. I think the most important value in Islam is faith in Allah. If the music is out of this value and direction, this is haram. If the music has bad, harmful, sexual, and immoral words and contents, of course this is not allowed in Allah's words. If the lyrics and melody make you away from Allah, this cannot lead you to the right path. And to be honest, nowadays music industry produce a lot of harmful contents, make you away from Allah. Bad words, affair, cheating, alcohol, smoke, drugs, and marijuana. Even in certain genres of music, I have a lot of girls like this way. I have a lot of money. Yeah, swag. Sorry. But you know, it doesn't look like swag. It just looks stupid. So these kinds are haram. But all of the music is haram. Even if there's no harmful things, some people find comfort in music and they find peace and happiness. They get the motivation of life through the music. Because the music has the power to move and inspire people. Even music like Nasid can help you to close Allah and make your faith stronger, like Maharjain and Sami Yusuf. So what I want to say is, you have to think about what the purpose and intention of this music is and how this affects you. Is music haram or not?
His beautiful skills that he has will now be used only for Islamic purposes. He's going to make Islamic nasheeds. He's already changing his life for the negative. He had so much potential in the entertainment industry. And yes, he's right. You can argue that a lot of the music has, negative values. It doesn't mean you have to get into that. A lot of it is just entertainment, just like movies that we watch, right? It doesn't mean that that's actually what you're telling people to do. Although it can affect the youth, but you can also make good music. Like, it's a challenge of anyone that's working in entertainment, how to produce something that has good values and also people want to buy. If you're going to be in the niche of Islam now and only make Islamic music, I don't know how well that sells. Maybe there's a lot of Muslims, maybe you'll actually make money on that.
Allah, you brought me home, I thank you with every breath I take. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
But probably you're making a big sacrifice now and you're going to give up using musical instruments. Your creativity is going to be hampered. Just like Cat Stevens, Yusuf Islam gave up music for so many years and then he went back to it. I would encourage you to really think about whether this is good for you, whether this religion is good for you, whether this way of life, these sacrifices you're making, whether there's an actual Jannah waiting for you at the end. Because if there's no actual Jannah, the question is, would you still do all this? Would you still make all these sacrifices, giving up pork and alcohol and musical instruments and praying 5 times a day and all of this stuff? I wouldn't. Because if it's not true, I definitely don't want to be following what Muhammad said and did. Because it's a lie. I highly encourage you to please look into Islam and see for yourself. Check out a website like Wiki Islam. Check out some of the arguments against Islam. You will see there's a lot of problems in the Islamic narrative. Thanks for watching. That's all I have to say about Jay Kim, aka Dawood Kim. I wish Dawood well, and I hope that he sees that Islam is a man-made religion just like every other religion in the world. There is no Jannah, and there is no big prize at the end for all the sacrifices he's making. If it fits well in his life and it's beneficial for him and it makes him happy, all well and good. But he should keep in mind there is no Jannah that's coming. Finally, I have a new channel, Solid Rock Men. It's all about being a confident, strong, assertive man. Check it out. I've learned a lot over the last 15 years and I wanted to share it with everybody. I hope that you'll check out my new channel and subscribe to me there if you're interested in such topics. Thanks for watching. This is Abdullah Samir signing out.